This is all about selfless service to society and to humanity. It is not about lining up your pocket or enriching yourself. And so today, we want to talk about a very serious issue that calls for concern. And I know that as media people, you must have read about it or heard about it. The allegations against the Minister of Interior of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Dimitri, who was accused of falsifying his NYSC certificate. And funny enough, a media, very credible media platform have done based on the Freedom of Information Act, had written officially to the NYSC to clarify on the authenticity or legitimacy of the certificates that the Interior Minister offered or volunteered in the course of international service. Now, at the end of the day, it was confirmed. Let me be specific. It was confirmed that indeed the Honorable Minister had written to the NYSC sometime in October of 2020 requesting for his NYSC certificate. And sometime in August of 2023, that certificate was issued. And the NYSC went further to clarify that there was a mix-up, and as a result of that mix-up, his certificate was omitted. I, for one, have a practical example where persons that I know who were former colleagues or bosses who could not participate in the NYSC scheme on the 5, 6, 7. In fact, there is a case of a lady who had to leave for the UK, and after more than 11 years came back and coincidentally served in the same state as my wife after several years. So there is a plethora of issues, technical issues, administrative issues that could lead to delays in the issuance of certificate, NYSC certificate. And the agency of government responsible that should offer or volunteer legitimate information on that issue had done so. And previous times had also published their findings based on investigation. That is investigative journalism, independently. And so we do not see the reason why certain individuals will take it upon themselves to cause distraction in the politics, especially to an individual who we view by our own judgment as the best performing minister in the Federal Republic, having taken the ministry from where it used to be as a ministry that only announced public holidays and special national days in Nigeria to a ministry that now creates jobs. As of today, we are talking about over 30,000 legitimate pensionable jobs under the leadership of the country. And we are also talking about a ministry that has now incentivized service and service delivery with more than 75,202 promotions across the 4 paramilitary organizations or agencies under his watch. So we do not believe that we should join this chorus or bandwagon of persons who are out there to extort people by maligning or defaming the individuals. And so today we are, as Niger Delta Rights advocates, issuing a 7 days ultimatum to Mr. Isaiah Davis Ijele, who has been at the forefront of this campaign against the person of the Interior Minister, to provide facts and evidence before the people of Nigeria, to provide his facts and evidences that indeed the Interior Minister falsified his NYSC certificate or any other certificate for that matter. We are throwing an open challenge because after 7 days, if he fails to provide evidence, because there is an aphorism that he that alleges must prove, the burden of proof lies on him. And so, if after 7 days he fails to prove this allegation, we will go ahead as a responsible organization to write to relevant authorities in order to deal squarely and decisively with that particular issue, because you cannot hide under the guise of freedom of expression to defame and malign other people to destroy their future or political career. We can affirm and confirm that Dr. Joe's NYSC certificate is authentic, and we are going to be using wrong on this fact. In fact, comparing his NYSC certificate to that of the case of Ms. Kemi Adeosun is an insult, is a brazen insult. Or even comparing it to the issue of the now resigned Minister for Science and Tech is another insult. Someone who made claims of certificate that he never possessed, and the university denied him. How can you compare that with a man who has worked so hard to get to where it is, and then the authority in charge, the NYSC, has said yes, this was the track record of his activities before we issued him this certificate. It is correct. It is accurate. There is nothing untoward about it. And so that is why, basically, we are here. We will not also fail to point to the fact that in Nigeria today, because of the wider implications of the service of this very young patriotic Nigeria, I have on several forums, different platforms, advocated. I said that I do not believe in a gerontocratic society where trust will be settled on those who are older, our grandfathers again. I believe that the younger generation should be given an opportunity. And we see this onslaught against Dr. Tunde as an onslaught against the younger generation of youth. It is an onslaught against those who believe that the Nigerian society should give greater opportunities to the youth. And having seen and recognized and even I marked what this young man has done in the past 2 years in the Ministry of Interior, I dare say that if we have more of such individuals, we will have succeeded in transforming our economy, because the potpourri of the various sectors that make up our national economy is not just about agriculture per se or oil and gas. By the time a minister in charge of interior, a minister in charge of agri is working at optimum, it will at the end of the day help boost our GDP. Currently, as we speak, our GDP is at $286 billion, if I'm not mistaken, if my figures are correct. Our current GDP is at 286 billion. And the only way, or one of the ways you can sustain and grow your GDP, even if ours is growing at between 3 to 4% nominally, is by making sure that you stimulate the economy by creating productive jobs, which this young man has succeeded in facilitating under his ministry. The employment of over 30,000 young Nigerians seamlessly. In fact, in the previous regimes before now, We had a situation where persons were invited to the stadium and they were massacred through stampede in the guise of looking for jobs or applying for jobs. So, ladies, okay, gentlemen, this is media. Gentlemen of the press, we hope that you put out our own version of the story to the public. And like we said, we have demanded, we have issued a 7-day ultimatum to the young man who has been operating using more than 7 different organizations, writing petitions. In fact, one of the petitions has reference number AFJGG/CC/001, written by 3 groups under his control, meaning that the very first letter an NGO was set up to write was against a particular minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Meaning that as soon as that job ends, they will now look for 002 to write, which could be another minister of the Federal Republic.